Now I want to introduce a new concept that can have a huge impact on your learning. It's called metacognition. Metacognition refers to your awareness of how well you truly understand a concept. Accurate metacognition is one of the key differences between successful and struggling students. Weaker students are grossly overconfident in how well they understand the material. As a result, weaker students don't study as much as they need to truly understand the material. They take an exam, they're confident they've done well, then they're stunned when they find out they've done poorly. Let's see how this works. A few years ago in my general psychology class, I did the following. At the end of the first exam, I had students estimate what percentage of the questions they got right, from 0 to 100%. I then created this graph of everyone in the class based on their actual exam performance and how they estimated they did. Each point represents a student. If students had an accurate view of how well they knew the material and how well they did on the exam, their estimate should match their actual performance, and they should score on the diagonal. If they did better than expected on the exam, their points will fall above the diagonal. If, however, they were overconfident in how they did, their point would fall below the diagonal. Look at the results. There are a few students who scored above the diagonal and did better than expected, but most students scored below the diagonal, showing they thought they scored better than they actually did. Now look at the upper right-hand corner of the graph. These are the students who did best on the exam. Notice how most of these students are clustered around the diagonal. Now look at the middle of the graph. Here are the students who did poorly, and most of their points are far below the diagonal. It was the weakest students who were the most overconfident. They had poor metacognition. After the exam, I'll have students who did poorly tell me, "I felt so confident after the exam," or "I thought I really knew the material." These are all signs of poor metacognition. These students were underprepared, overconfident, and completely unaware of those facts. The problem for college freshmen is they spent years honing their sense of metacognition for high school. Now they come to college and their sense of metacognition is all wrong. A big transition in the freshman year is developing a more accurate sense of metacognition. The problem with poor metacognition is that it may indicate that you have poor study strategies. The hallmark of a poor study strategy is that it builds overconfidence without increasing actual learning. So therefore, you have poor metacognition. In order to improve your study effectiveness, you need to improve your study skills.